Hello everyone. So in today's session, we will see about the copy data activity in the ADF pipeline. So I will explain various options available under the source and sink within the copy data activity with some real-time scenarios. So I have two folders named input and output folder. So in the scenario one, I just want to load a specific file from input to output folder. And in scenario two, I want to load all the CSV files from the input to output folder. And in scenario three, I want to load the list of files from my input to output folder. And in scenario four, I want to load the folder hierarchy along with the all files in the main folder and subfolders. And in scenario 5, by maintaining the flatten hierarchy, I want to load all the CSV files from input to output. And in scenario 6, so I want to merge all the CSV files into a single CSV and load it into my output folder. So like this, I will explain you the various options that are available in the copy data activity. So before going to see them, the implementation part. So first of all, we will understand what are the ADF components or what are the steps that we need to implement while building a pipeline. So first of all, we need to create a linked service which will be the configuration and setup for the source and targets. And we need to create the data sets. So in linked service, we will just point to the source, and in the data set, we will exactly point on which file or data we are going to work. So in order to perform the data movement or any kind of logics to be applied, so we need to choose the specific activities available in the ADF. So all these together, we will build in a pipeline where we will configure the linked service and data sets within the activities. And in order to trigger that, we need an integration runtime. So in integration runtime, again, we have three types like Azure integration runtime. So whenever we are dealing with cloud-based data movement, so both source and sink related to cloud, then we can go with Azure integration runtime. So whenever we are dealing with the on-premises related, we need to go with the self-hosted integration runtime. And when we want to run these SSIS packages in the Azure, we used to go with Azure SSIS integration runtime. So in this scenario, we are using our source and sink in a storage account. So by default, we are going with the Azure integration runtime. So now let us navigate to the Azure portal in order to achieve these scenarios one by one. So I log into my Azure account and I am now in my Azure Data Factory. So at present, I don't have any components created, and so for everything it is showing as 0. So the first step I'm going to do is I'm creating a linked service to access my storage account. So in order to create the linked service, I need to navigate to that manage. So in the manage here, we can see that a linked service under the connections. So I'm for creating a linked service, I'm choosing this new option. So in this case, like my data source is ADLS Gen 2. So ADF will support for multiple data connections. So out of that, I'm choosing the ADLS Gen 2 as per my requirement. So I'm naming this linked service with suffix as ls to easy identification purpose ADLS Gen 2. So here I'm using the integration runtime and authentication type in order to connect to the storage account from ADF is account key. And here I am choosing my subscription and the storage account name. So once this basic information is given, I am testing the connection. So connection got successful. So now the ADF through linked service can able to access my storage account. I'm going to create that linked service. So whatever the scenarios I have explained, so I have an input folder here. So inside the input folder, I have direct files like April and August CSV and another text format related list of files. And in input folder, I have a subfolder called December, which is containing the December related data. So in another tab, I am opening my output folder. So whenever we will trigger the pipeline, so we can able to see whether the output is properly placed or not. Okay. So now I'm back to my ADLF to create the pipeline. So according to the components, like first I created the linked service, and next I want to create the data sets for my input and output. So that either I can create individually or I can create while designing the pipeline itself. So I am naming the pipeline as PL copy activity. So in order to achieve my scenarios, I need a copy data activity. So this copy data activity is only to copy specific file. So I am, for easy understanding purpose, I am giving the name as copy specific file. Okay. So now I am going to the source. So in data activity, the two important things are the source and sink. Source, from where we are picking the file, and sink, from where we are placing the output file. So in my scenario, the source is the input folder april29.csv. So this particular file, I want to move it into my output folder. So in the runtime, I am creating the source data set. So again, I need to choose my source, data lake gen2, and here my file format is CSV. So I am naming this dataset as dataset underscore specific file. So earlier I created the linked service to connect to the storage account. The same I am choosing here. So here I am giving the navigation path using the user interface. So from ADF through the linked service, it is trying to fetch this directory details. Okay, so now in scenario 1, I want to load the specific file like April 2019 CSV. So as my file contain first row as header, I enable the option and click on OK. So then this source is now configured via the dataset. So now I want to move the specific file. So I have chosen this file path in the dataset. So in sync, I want to copy this file from my input folder to in the same container output folder, for which I am creating one more data set. As my file format is CSV, so I am naming this as dataset underscore output. As my source and sync both are in the storage account, I am using this same linked service that I have created, pointing to the output. So if we want to give any name, then we can hard code it here. So during the runtime, it will create that file. Or if we can keep it as blank. So whatever is there in the source, the same with the same name, it will move into the output folder. And as here also I want the first row as header, I enable this option and click on OK. Okay, so if I don't select any copy behavior, so by default it will choose the preserve hierarchy only. So we will see the options in another scenarios. So now I am going to validate this pipeline. So no errors were found. So I am going to run this using the debug mode. So the expectation of this pipeline is the file from the input folder should be moved into the output folder. So here we can see that pipeline running status in detail at activity level. So in this pipeline, we have only one copy data activity. So in the activity name, we can see what is the input to that activity and what is the outcome of the activity. So it read one file and it return one file, and if we click on that activity, we can see the same in the pictorial manner. So it has read one file and it has wrote one file. The same thing if I go and refresh my output folder, so from the input folder, that specific April 2019 got copied into my output folder. So similarly, in the source, we have three options when we choose the dataset as a file type. So file path in dataset, which is used to copy the specific file, and wildcard path, like from the input, if we want to load all the CSV files or any file starting with April and CSV format, or any file with any name and any format. So we can give these various combinations using the wildcard path. So if we want to load only the specific files, so we can mention those list of file names in a file, and we can upload or browse that file here. So we will see those scenarios as well. So I just want to go with another copy data activity. So I'm just deactivating, means when I debug this one, it will only trigger the activities, or it will only run the activities which are in the active mode. So now I am going to name this as copy all CSV files. So I'm going with a new data set. Data Lake Gen 2 is my source and CSV file format. So I'm naming it as dataset all CSV files and choosing the linked service here that I have created. So the next requirement is like, so I want to load the CSV files in my input folder. So whatever the CSV files I have, I want to copy all those CSV files from input to output folder. So in this scenario, I have two CSV files in my input folder. Okay, so I should not give any specific file name. So I am leaving that file name as blank. So I will handle the file name here. So by using this wildcard file dot path, so I am giving that asterisk dot CSV, which means it will not consider the file names, or it will consider all the files with CSV format. Okay, so this is my source and I am disabling this option. Why? Because I don't want the files in my subfolders. Okay, whatever the files available on the root folder called master, only I want them to move into my sync. So as my sync is same, I chosen the same data set that I have created. Okay, so now I am going to delete my output folder, and let's see after running that pipeline what will be the output here. So my expectation is April 2019 and August 2019 should be copied into this output folder after this pipeline debug completed. So validation is completed. I'm going to run the pipeline in the debug mode. So for every 5 to 8 seconds, it will get refresh the activity status. So either we can see within this screen, or in the monitor, we can also see these triggered pipelines or the pipelines that run in the debug mode. So now this got completed. So from source it read 2 files, and in the sync it wrote the 2 files. So if I go and refresh, so this is my second scenario, like which I handled by using the wildcard file path. Okay. So now my third scenario is I want to load a list of files. So for example, here in input folder, I have again December 2019 file in the December folder, and I want to copy this August 2019. Okay. So whatever the files that we want to copy from the input folder, we can mention those file names or paths in a file. So here in the input folder, I have a text file called list of files, and if I open that one in the edit mode, so here I have that April 2019.csv, and I have given the folder called December, and in the December folder I have given the December 2019.csv. So whatever the files path I have mentioned in this list of files, so my pipeline will choose those and it will load it into my output. So I am cleaning my output folder and making it ready to the third scenario. So for which again I am going for a new copy data activity within the same pipeline. So here I am naming it as list of files. So for this, I'm going for a new data set, data lake Gen 2 storage, CSV file format. So I'm naming it as dataset list of files and linked service that I have created. So through that linked service, ADF is trying to access the directory. So here I just given my input till that path I have given. So the file name I will handle in the source option. So I am going to the list of files. So I am choosing that file in which I mentioned the file paths and all. So input folder, list of files. So sync same in the output directory, and want that whatever the files I have specified, I want to copy it. So there are no errors, and now I am going to run the pipeline in the debug mode. So the expectation here in the output folder is December folder should be created with December 2019 file inside it, and April 2019 file should be placed. So in this pipeline, I have 3 activities where I keep the other 2 activities in inactive mode, and the list of files got succeeded. If I go and refresh my output folder, so whatever the files that we have given in that list of files, so only those got copied from my source to sync. So similarly, these are the options that are available and the scenarios that we have implemented in the source part. So similarly in sync, we have 3 copy behavior like flatten hierarchy, merge files, and preserved hierarchy. So preserve hierarchy means like whatever the folder structure that we have with the same folder structure, it will copy in our output. Whereas flatten hierarchy means irrespective of the folder structure, it will pull all the files from the subfolders and place it in the root folder. So for example, here we have April and August files within the output folder and December inside the December folder. But when we choose the copy behavior as flatten hierarchy, it will copy the December 2019 in the output folder itself. And the last option we have is merge hierarchy. So whatever the list of files that we are um, configured using the source dataset, so it will merge all those files and load it into a single output. So these are the basic options that are available in the copy data activity in the source and sync level. Thanks for your time, and in tomorrow's session we will see some of the advanced options in the copy data activity.